Hey guys, how you doing? Hopefully you're doing okay. Going to give you a very thorough overview of the article here. Perhaps I'll read through certain sections within it. There is a link in the description. Need to give you a trigger warning. This involves the murder of a 36-year-old woman. Her name, Sarah Hopson. I have an image of what may be the victim. I've done a Google search and I found this image, but at the same time, there might well be plenty of people with the same name, Sarah Hopson. I think this could be the victim. Apologies if I have that wrong. If I do have that wrong, please do let me know in the comments. And here is the alleged murderer. I think it's going to be a pretty clear and cut case. I think the authorities have all the evidence that they need at this point. His name, Ethan Carl Myers, and it's pretty horrific. He murders the victim, Sarah Hopson, and also dismembers her. He cuts off her toes, her fingers, both of her ears. He puts all of those things, all of those body parts, into a freezer bag, which was placed between her legs. She was found at a home wrapped in carpet, and the investigators, the forensic investigators, found that the blood splatter that was all over the walls had been washed off. So the forensic experts, we know from watching 10 seasons or more of CSI, we know that the forensic experts can very quickly and easily identify such things, and they were able to identify all kinds of chemical supplies. The walls had been painted. Some of the furniture still had blood splatter residue. So attempts were made to wipe off the blood, to get rid of the evidence of the murder occurring, certainly at the location in which it did, which is a home in Texas. So this scumbag has been taken into custody as of Sunday. He's been charged with evading arrest and, more importantly, charged with murder in the death of Sarah Hopson. Again, I believe this is Sarah Hopson. Apologies if I have that wrong. I found this through a Google search. There is the opportunity, there's room for that to be a completely different Sarah Hopson. He allegedly killed 36-year-old Sarah Hopson by bashing her head with a rock, and then, as I mentioned, further dismembering her, cutting off her toes, fingers, and both ears as part of a sacrifice. Now, 2 other people have also been arrested in connection with Sarah Hopson's death. They've both been charged with 1 count each of tampering or fabricating physical evidence with the intent to impair a human corpse. So 2 other people have been arrested in regards to the death, but seemingly not in the actual act of murder, but in the cleaning up after the fact. So as I mentioned, forensics discovered that the walls had been painted, that there was chemicals had been used in an attempt to clean the area of blood splatter and such. My guess, my speculation, could be entirely wrong. My guess is that this woman, Teresa Louviere, and I believe her partner, Alan Price, I believe these 2 guys were the ones that were attempting to clean up the mess after the murder of Sarah Hopson. So perhaps they had no involvement in the actual murder. Seemingly, as far as I can ascertain from the info we get in this preliminary article, seemingly this guy committed the murder and committed the dismembering as a part of what he believes to have been a sacrifice. There's speculation as to whether or not he's a Satanist. It's not confirmed, but he has talked about sacrifices, and his mother has said that his mother has said that he said to the mother that the victim, Sarah Hopson, had asked him to sacrifice her. The mother, his mother, Ethan Carl Meyer's mother, has also said that he's previously stated that he hears voices and that he believes himself to be satanic. So, look, I'm not a psychologist, but my take on it is this guy is mad as a hatter. Schizophrenia, bipolar, whatever it happens to be, I've got no idea. But seemingly he's suffering from delusions, hallucinations. That would be my take on it. Does that excuse his behavior? Of course not, no. I saw a quote the other day, and I really should have remembered who by, but it went something along the lines of, even when mental health plays a part, the culprit still chooses to perform evil. So even when they are mad as a hatter, even when they are riddled with psychological issues, be that schizophrenia or whatever it is, even if they're having hearing voices, having hallucinations, believing reality to be something very, very different to what it actually is, they still have to make a choice, and that's where evil resides, in those choices. So we don't excuse these people for their behavior 100%. We can take into account their level of mental illness, should that be proven by actual scientists. I would trust the science. Myself, personally, I would trust the scientists. I think at this point in time, whatever weaknesses psychology as a science has, I think that it's matured enough to be able to identify certain things. The scientists, the experts, the academics have had enough case studies to work on to get a good enough approximation of an understanding of these kind of mental illnesses or disorders, or however we're going to classify them. So I would largely agree with the psychologists, but I want to get back to some of the specifics. Deputies with the Shelby County Sheriff's Office at around 4 p.m. on November the 13th, so a week ago, responded to a request for a welfare check at a home located in Woking. If I pronounce that correctly, Woking. Do I pronounce that correctly? Upon entering the residence, first responders on the scene discovered Sarah Hopson's lifeless body inside. Police say that this woman, Teresa Louviere, and this guy, Alan Price, police say that Price and Louviere went to the sheriff's office and requested the welfare check, telling deputies that they believed Ethan Myers had done something to Sarah Hopson. Okay, so these two went to the police. Was that out of genuine concern, or was that in full knowledge that a murder had occurred? Is that after they attempted to cover up the murder? I don't know. They reportedly said that the alleged murderer, Ethan Myers, had been staying at their home and began acting strange before fleeing the house. Ethan Myers was reportedly covered in blood. The two of them, Teresa Louviere and Alan Price, noted that they hadn't seen Sarah Hopson for more than a day. Alan Price reportedly said that Ethan Myers had been involved in cult activity. The deputies that discovered Sarah Hopson's body reportedly found that all of her fingers and toes had been removed. All of her fingers and toes had been removed, along with both of her ears. The removed body parts were reportedly found inside of a clear freezer bag that had been placed between Hopson's legs. Okay, so I'm just going to say this. I mean, I imagine that, I mean, between Hopson's legs, so Sarah Hopson's a woman, so I would imagine that was a sexual act, I would guess. Maybe not necessarily, but that's I imagine that's what it was. She also appeared to have sustained a large impact wound on the right side of her head. A large impact wound on the right side of her head. That's relevant. The article is going to go on to tell us that in Ethan Meyer's car there was gasoline, there were other items, chemical supplies, and a large rock which would match the trauma caused to the right side of Sarah Hopson's head. Later that day, investigators reportedly spoke with Ethan Meyer's mother. Ethan Meyer's mother allegedly said that her son, Ethan Myers, told her that the victim, Sarah Hopson, had asked him to sacrifice her, and that he did as she had asked. So essentially, the accused murderer's mother says that the accused murderer said, "Oh, I did kill Sarah. I killed Sarah, but only because she asked me to." I mean, that's my interpretation. So this guy has effectively admitted to having killed Sarah. That would be my take on it. The mother also reportedly said that her son, Ethan Myers, hears voices and is satanic. She also said that the son was hiding in the woods to avoid returning to prison. But he has been apprehended. He has been charged. And he is on a bond. He's been held on a $1.25 million bond, which is a high bond. So I guess that's good, but I could imagine it could have been higher. I would not want this psychopath, murderer, walking the streets. I wouldn't want him to have the opportunity to come up with the required amount to bail him out. I don't understand why that's an option in Texas. Why couldn't the judge just say, hey, seeing as this guy likely, very, very likely, killed and dismembered an innocent woman, let's not let him back on the streets. Let's not give him the opportunity to be bailed out. That's what I would have thought. Investigators at the scene reportedly found Sarah Hopson's body in a bedroom. It had been rolled up into the middle of a carpet. It was rolled up in a carpet. Deputies reportedly said that the room smelled of paint and the walls appeared to have been recently painted. Multiple cans of paint were found inside the room, as well as several Dollar General bags filled with an assortment of cleaning supplies. Okay, so they go on to say that it was quite obvious to the forensic experts that blood splatter had been cleaned away. The walls were wiped, and in an attempt to clean the walls from any evidence. So one question would be, who did that? Is that the alleged murderer that tried to clean up the scene? Maybe. Or was it these two, Teresa Louviere and Alan Price, the owners of the house, or certainly it was their home, maybe they were renting, but the murderer was merely a guest in their home? Did they clean up the blood? They both have been charged with one count of tampering or fabricating physical evidence with the intent to impair a human corpse. So the police seemingly feel that they've done something wrong. Maybe that was attempting to clean up the scene of the crime. A search of Ethan Meyer's vehicle reportedly turned up a shovel, several plastic bags, a gallon of gasoline, a hammer, and a large rock stuffed in a trash bag that had the smell of gasoline. Investigators reportedly said that a portion of the large rock appeared to be a match for the wound that Sarah Hopson sustained. And that's really all of the information that we have. So particularly heinous murder at the hands of this guy who may or may not be a literal Satanist, a worshipper of Satan. His mother says that that's what he is. The mother could be wrong. But the mother also says that the victim asked to be killed. I doubt that's the case. I doubt the victim, Sarah Hopson, 36 years of age, I doubt that she would have wanted to have been killed, to have had sustained a severe injury to the right side of her head, been hit in the head with a large rock. I doubt the victim would have wanted to have all of her fingers, all of her toes, and both ears cut off. We don't know if that was before or after the death. I hope it was after the death. This is a sick, sick individual. Evil. Mental illness or not, evil either way. These other two guys, they're both held on $250,000 bond each. We don't really know the extent of their involvement. My take on it is that they were perhaps responsible for painting the walls and cleaning the walls. And maybe that was just an act of utter stupidity. I don't know. What were they trying to do? They were trying to help their buddy, their house guest, get away with murder. Is that what they were hoping to do? I don't know. The main culprit is the murderer in my mind. Ethan Kyle Myers is the alleged murderer. And I hope he gets exactly what he wants. Full condolences to the family of the victim, Sarah Hopson. Again, if I am referring to the wrong image, please let me know. Apologies if that is the case, but I believe this to be the victim, Sarah Hopson, 36 years of age, from Texas. And full condolences to her family. I'm not aware of a GoFundMe. If you guys are, please drop a note in the comments. I'll be more than happy to add a link, should there be one. I'm going to wrap things up at this point, guys. If you appreciate the coverage, please do like, comment, subscribe, share the video as you see fit, and take care.